Sonic Universe issue 37. We start out with Eggman's base being put on high alert with an announcement warning about a full station lockdown. And Eggman complains that he's been locked out of the network as well. He presses a button and Orbot and Cubot show up for more than just the lame colors adaptation, so yay! It's a shame Flynn didn't have the good sense to just have Cubot's charming text and accent be his voice, instead of being the result of him getting damaged from a bounce, and having an overly long gag of having a broken voice for the rest of the comic. Eggman tells him to hack into the system and get him back in control of his network. I'm waiting to see a good explanation on why Eggman can't do that himself. Snively says that Eggman won't know what hit him, and he'll be halfway to Central City before he gets things under control. He plans on winning Hope over, because he's stupid and doesn't know her at all. And then he'll go to the Dragon Kingdom to pick up some ancient technology he conveniently found off screen, so he can go rescue the Iron Queen. Now I doubt that'll happen because that would be interesting and lead to something interesting. But it's the journey that counts, I guess. He says voice commands that override stuff going into an elevator, and we see Cubot and Orbot in front of circles with screens of holograms above them. So why can't Eggman do this himself? Does he need two people at once doing this since there's two things there? Orbot says that security logs are what suggests that this is Snively's work, and not just the fact that it happened at all. Eggman says that Snively making such a bold move against him isn't like him, and Cubot says that a hologram of Snively making an announcement was broadcast before the lockdown. Snively was talking to the Grandmasters of the Dark Egg Legion. There's more than one? Kind of defeats Leonda's satisfaction of being one if she's not the only one. I wasn't given much of an indication that the Grandmasters were completely replacing the sub-bosses, as if they were supposed to be a brand new idea. But anyways, Snively says in an announcement that Sonic's finally finished off Eggman, and they're even crashing into the ocean as they speak. So he's disbanding the Dark Egg Legion as his final act. I actually laughed, seeing him here being all melodramatic while lying. It was pretty funny. Eggman orders to get him control of the egg swats and search the place for Snively, and he finally thinks to order someone to shut off the lockdown announcement. Before Snively can find a jet, he gets really easily captured by a robot because it's way faster than him, I guess, when I expected him to be able to run up to it in time. He says he's sorry and it'll never happen again, but then it looks like he explodes. So maybe he got captured on purpose, as Cubot talks about how they got a whole bunch of other Snively captures. This implies that Snively thought to make fake duplicates of himself to fool Eggman. Eggman says that he resurrected his Infiltrator series. That's a pretty clever idea. We see Snively take off from the jet, and Orbot says that the last of the Infiltrators have self-destructed, talks as if that logically automatically results in the system being under control again, and Cubot says that he isn't getting anything from the Grandmasters, as I wonder why Snively didn't make it so that at least one of the Infiltrators wouldn't self-destruct, or make it so that none of them self-destructed, so that Eggman would have no way of knowing right away which one was the one that he captured, which one was the real him. Like, if none of them self-destructed, then he would have to deal with having a whole bunch of Snively's all in one room, and he would have to individually figure out which one was the real one. And it would be just so much more tedious. Like, was Snively scared of the Infiltrators taking over his life if they weren't made to self-destruct? I guess so, but couldn't he's planning to come back here with the Iron Queen anyways. Wouldn't he just take it back and get rid of all the Infiltrators anyways? Is he really that cowardly that he's afraid of them after he comes back? Eggman says to fire up the teleporters and lock onto their locator beams, as he wants the Grandmasters in the conference room now. Cubot reasons that the Death Egg's running on reserve power right now, so he has no reason to do this right this minute. And Orbot says, and what if they're in the middle of Empire business? When Cubot seems to have more logic and reason than Eggman, something's wrong. All of the Grandmasters get teleported away in a big epic montage, including the Happy Bunny's uncle, Drago, and Razorclaw, who are in the process of splitting up to command the wolves and cats separately, a Snake Grandmaster of Mercia's Nottingham Castle, who's obsessed with dealing out prisoner punishments, a Biker Grandmaster who plans to burn Missouri by midnight for no reason. We see Bill the Platypus get warped away while also happy, conquering Storm, who was fighting a Yaku that tried to steal from her while she has new cyborg eyes that kind of look good on her. And there's a whale Grandmaster who also wants to fight for control. And he is a Grandmaster despite having no hands. Huh, I never thought we'd see the Nerbs again. And yet the Nerbs have their own Grandmaster too. So if Eggman died at this point, all the Dark Egg Legionnaire Grandmasters, or at least most of them, would all be vying for control as villains of their own regions. That goes to show you how grim the Dark Egg Legion and sub-boss concept really is, because we could have easily not had it exist since, you know, Leonda's people can make their own cybernetics, and then we could still have it be that if Eggman died, well, like, even if he did, like, again, like, the sub-bosses would try to take over the world. But they wouldn't be as bad as Robotnik unless they could roboticize people too, I guess. But yeah, I love seeing all the Grandmasters, like, including the ones that we haven't seen. Even if they're almost all just generic power-hungry people with the same personalities. Because it's interesting to have, like, each region, like, have its own Grandmaster. Even if we'll never really see it fleshed out. After Drago stupidly complains to Eggman about the whole situation and gets threatened to sit back down, Eggman reminds the Grandmaster that they're one signal away from being killed, and he asks them why none of them replied to the signal he sent out for them. Eggman says that while Snively did send out that message, he would have never given them freedom in his demise by himself, and he's determined that they would serve the Legion and Empire until the day they die. And meanwhile, Cubot's handing out drinks and snacks, even to the Nerf guy. That's sweet. The Whale Grandmaster stupidly insults someone who could blow him up straight to his face, saying that he's not fit to command them because he can't even control Snively. Eggman threatens him more creatively, saying that he could open the hatch and let him fly back to the ocean. I kind of chuckle, that's a pretty funny image. Eggman says that Leonda is a prime example of loyalty, because she could have seized control during the technical difficulties earlier, but she didn't. And he says this as we see Commanding Storm silently refusing a drink from Cubot for some weird reason. Frustratingly, rather than us actually being told why Leonda did seize control, like she was taking a nap or something, the story gets completely distracted as Eggman just yells at Cubot and Orbot for being good hosts of their guests with drinks, like an idiot, and Eggman says that the out-of-character Leonda will receive her choice of location for Chapter 3 assignment. Eggman gives the Grandmasters an assignment to look for the Blue Chaos Emerald, which disappeared during an arbitrary glitch in the Death Egg madness that makes no sense. You know, I feel sorry for the writer and artist having to keep track of which colored emeralds are where. It was so much easier when we had a huge amount of them, they were all the same color. But no, they have to be exactly like the games. Eggman says that the Grandmaster that gets him the emerald will be rewarded, and the punishment for trying to just keep it will be legendary. We'll never find out which Grandmaster found the emerald, by the way. And I'm not sure if we see him get the emerald. Wait, was that the one that he used in the crossover? Whatever. The point is we never see who found it. So this plot thread is kind of dropped. The plot thread, like, really could have shown us, like, all the Grandmasters looking for the emerald, like, competing with each other, like a Sonic Universe arc, but no, it's just completely wasted. Anyways, Commanding Storm complains that if the Grandmasters continue to get summoned so abruptly in the future, it'd be difficult to fulfill their wishes, and she's finally taking a sip of the drink. Eggman says that he knows, and today's demonstration was to make an impression, and he has other means of keeping tabs on them as well. He shows off Metal Sally, Metal Sonic, and a Metal Tails for once, next to a Metal Knuckles, and says they'll be enforcing his will directly and assisting them when needed. And he puts assisting in quotation marks, implying that what he means is that they'll be in charge of punishment for disobedience. Again, we'll never get to see the results of this. We'll never get to see what these guys are going to be doing with the Grandmasters. As Drago laughs, Bunny's uncle is horrified at seeing Metal Sally, and arbitrarily just immediately asks if that's really Sally, but had absolutely no reason to assume Eggman hadn't just built a robot of her, which he did for the other Metal series, when he should be under the assumption that roboticization isn't possible anymore. He didn't ask if Tails, Knuckles, and Sonic had been made in Metal Series 2. Was he already familiar with those robots when this is the first time we've ever seen Metal Tails and Knuckles here? And with the Grandmasters gone, Eggman says that Leonda will be in charge while he and Metal Sally go on a hunting expedition. It says Mecha Sally there, but I don't really care, especially since it's inconsistent when Metal Sonic is named differently. And she's standing right beside the rest of them. Eggman tells Orbot and Cubot to ready a flyer, and Orbot asks why Snively didn't disable the tracker after all the trouble he went through to escape. Eggman lampshades how odd this mistake was, and runs off. This issue is by Ian Flynn, and while I expected it to be focused on Snively, instead it was all about Eggman. There were lots of stuff I loved writing-wise, like how Snively made robot duplicates of himself to fool Eggman, although they all exploded for no reason, which did more harm to Snively than good. And I got to see all of the Grandmasters of the Dark Legion for once, and how they would all continue to be threatening villains after fake news of Eggman's death. Notice that the Dark Egg Legion concept never really needed to happen. I mean, it's just a replacement for the sub-bosses, only they're legionized instead of just roboticized. Big difference. That's the thing, when Robotnik was killed off, we didn't have a lot of emphasis on the Freedom Fighters being inconvenienced by any of his power-hungry sub-bosses vying for power. Crockbot was just killed off by a Bunyip off-screen, and Antoine's father was taken out by the Albions off-screen. I also like that Orbot and Cubot are being used as characters finally. They're assistant to Eggman with charming, memorable designs, and I love that Cubot has his accent like he should. The standout bad part of the issue was, well, one, that Leandau was totally out of character by not seizing the opportunity to take over, but another thing was the Grandmasters, Drago, and the Baron just assumed that Sally was roboticized instead of assuming that Eggman built a robot Sally. Like how he built a robot Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles. If they already knew about the robot Tails and Knuckles, then why wouldn't they know that? Like, did they not? If they did, how could they not know that? Weren't they under the impression that roboticization wasn't possible anymore? So why would they just assume that it was Sally who was roboticized? I guess they thought that there was no reason that Eggman would bother to make a robot Sally instead of just roboticizing Sally, because Sally isn't known for having special powers, but I don't know. That part was really forced, making them jump to conclusions like that. And it was really stupid of any of the Grandmasters to be rude to Eggman when he could blow them up and replace them in a heartbeat. If this is the kind of thing they do normally, then why are they even still alive? Also, if Eggman wanted to push the idea that he was winning the war, why didn't he also mention what happened to Antoine?